What a night in American politics. I dare say Donald Trump's performance at the debate last night against Kamala Harris, one of the worst debate performances in modern history. I had tempered my expectations. I went in assuming that yes, Kamala Harris would win, but there would be some nervousness that would maybe temper her performance a bit. Yes, I expected Trump to lie and to fall apart, but I didn't expect that he would be furiously ranting and spitting and sweating and complaining the entire debate while failing to make any serious political points. His performance, a disaster. Her performance, completely fine, projecting an air of calm competence as a contrast to Trump leaning over the lectern, gripping it with white knuckles, and just spitting and complaining with his right eye swollen almost completely shut. It appears as though Tulsi Gabbard's debate prep of Trump was not the silver bullet that the Trump team hoped that it would be. Extremist Laura Loomer helping Trump to prepare did not really help him to be prepared to face Kamala Harris. Now, setting the tone for the entire event was Kamala Harris deciding she's going to shake Trump's hand. Trump lumbering onto the stage without even acknowledging her. Trump didn't want to do it. She forced the handshake on Trump. He was too petty to even meet her halfway.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate.
See, have fun.
Kamala Harris, let's have a good debate. And Trump often not even glancing over at the vice president, wanting to pretend she wasn't even there. And Kamala Harris came out of the gate prepared, strong, ready to go right up against Donald Trump.
And border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling.
And this immediately got under Donald Trump's skin. Trump was able to remain calm maybe 6 or 7 minutes. And then within minutes of the start of the debate, he was increasingly triggered, couldn't help himself but bringing up Kamala Harris's father, saying she and he are Marxists, and it went unhinged quickly. And if you're watching, you'll notice Kamala Harris staying very calm, smirking and grinning at the stupidity of what Trump is saying, and remaining the adult in the room, which worked very well for her.
I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy, but if she ever got elected, she'd change it, and it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21.
Yeah, I mean, how about 100 million? How about 1 billion people? It doesn't really matter. You're just lying at this point regardless. And Kamala Harris handling this really well. Trump was encouraged not to take the bait from her, and he failed. He took it every time. Kamala Harris was prepared to bait Trump. And one of Trump's biggest insecurities are his rallies. Not only the size of the crowd, but the fact that people get bored and people fall asleep and people leave. And Kamala Harris went right at Trump by making fun of his silly little rallies, and boy, did it work.
Instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies. because it's a really interesting thing to watch.
Oh, yeah.
You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Trump seething. And this was, okay, she mentioned his rallies. It shouldn't trigger that much. But indeed, it triggers him very much.
Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
Yeah. And of course, this really gets under Trump's skin, because Trump knows that in arenas like in Philadelphia, Trump couldn't fill it, and days later, Kamala Harris filled the arena. Trump knows that nobody's getting paid to go to a Kamala Harris rally. They've tried pushing that one, but there is no evidence of that whatsoever. Now, in one of the stranger moments of the debate, Trump was asked about, remember when you said she used to be Indian, but she became black? And what it seems like is happening here is that Trump first is able to control himself and say what his campaign told him to say, but then he just goes back to the same thing from before. It's a wild, wild moment.
And Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black.
So there, he starts kind of just like, whatever, doesn't make any difference to me. But then he goes, no, I've been reading about it. I read she wasn't black, and then she's black all of a sudden.
That she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her.
He's like, listen, she used to not be black and now she is, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just she used to not be black and then she became black, essentially repeating the completely failed statement from the NABJ interview. Now, then, if you think that's wild, it got really crazy, where Trump brought up black seating cats. That's the way we're referring to this story that is completely debunked, of supposed undocumented Haitians, who, by the way, are not undocumented, in Springfield, Ohio, eating cats and dogs. Trump brings it up. Kamala Harris just laughs in his face.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And
this is reality, folks. You're not going to all of a sudden wake up and be in your bed because this is a bad dream. This is reality.
This is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want.
All right. So Trump bringing up the black seating cats conspiracy. And by the way, no, this is just a brief musical interlude. I think you might like this. Noah Garfinkel brilliantly pointed out on Twitter that Trump's claim about immigrants eating pets syncs up almost perfectly with the Peanuts theme song.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
So beautifully done there by Noah Garfinkel. But now back to the debate. There was a moment you knew would come up that would be an opportunity for Kamala Harris to point out, this guy's been convicted of crimes. This guy's been found civilly liable for sexual assault. And she found that moment and she was ready for it.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse
President
me,
Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts.
Now, at this point, Trump's done. He's cooked. He's hanging by a thread, frustration taking over. And then Trump tries the wait a minute, I'm speaking, trying to sort of mimic a famous line from Kamala Harris in prior debates, and it just doesn't land.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Does that sound familiar? It just didn't work. It didn't work, and Trump, unable to land even a single punch. Maybe stinging Trump the most was when Kamala Harris, almost treating Trump like a pitiable little child, 81 million people fired him, and he's struggling to accept it.
I ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election.
That one really, really bothered Trump, and then it was just over. The topic of Trump's health care plan came up, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's just adding insult to injury. Remember the health care plan that in August of 2020 would be out in 2 weeks that we never got? Trump was asked, so you still don't have it? And he goes, well, I have concepts of a plan.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that.
Right. It's been 4 years. He still doesn't know what he would do as far as healthcare goes, but he has concepts of a plan, which after 4 years and a month, he's still not turned into a plan. Finally, the pinnacle of frustration, Trump with a very gross, quiet, please.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting.
Quiet, please. So listen, you rarely see such a one-sided debate in American politics because no matter how indefensible the political positions of the major party candidates can sometimes be, by the time they make it to this debate stage, they've been, in a sense, vetted and filtered through the primary process and the selection of donors. And you don't get someone who's completely unable to participate in a conversation about politics. That's what you got with Trump, because that's what the Republican Party picked, because they've been completely held hostage by Trump. It backfired. And if you need more proof that it backfired, you need only see the panic on Fox News in the immediate aftermath of the debate. Let's talk about that next. Are you looking to elevate your fitness routine with a science-backed approach? Alpha Progression is the ultimate workout app designed to deliver real results no matter where you are on your fitness journey. What really makes Alpha Progression exceptional is its unbeatable value, intuitive interface, and fully customizable workout plans that are tailored to exactly what you need. With an impressive 4.9-star rating across both the Apple and Google App Stores and tens of thousands of glowing reviews, this app has earned its reputation. Twice recognized as Apple's App of the Day, Alpha Progression is a trusted choice for fitness. If you're just starting out, if you have years of experience, Alpha Progression focuses on maximizing muscle gain with science-based workout plans that align with your personal goals. These are created by seasoned bodybuilders. The app offers expert guidance and strategies similar to those of a personal trainer, but at a tiny fraction of the cost. Get the results you're striving for with Alpha Progression, all while staying within your budget. We are partnering with Alpha Progression to give you 20% off your first year when you sign up for an annual plan, or 20% off your first month if you go monthly. Go to alphaprogression.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.